Hey y'all, we are back and we have another grant. And with this specific grant, when I tell you it is easy, it is easy. And you do not have to have a business. You don't have to have too much of nothing for this one. Again, as always, if you get anything of value from the video, from the beginning, middle, end, like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Before we get into the grant, as always, I have a Discord, and in the Discord, I post different grants, and in between time, as far as me being able to come onto YouTube and do the live videos, I post just links to various grants in there. It's a subscription. You can cancel anytime. If you get value from it, you can stay. If you don't, you can leave. No pressure or anything like that. But I do always like to just show a little bit of what's there, because otherwise you kind of blindly sign up for it because there isn't like a preview or anything like that. So let's do that quickly, because this video shouldn't take us too long to go through at all. So here is the Discord. So the reason that I like this is because I'm able to separate it by different categories. So I always post in here what we have coming up. So today we have the $120,000 grant for content creators and other individuals as well. And then it's separated, right? So you got the for-profit. So there's different grants in there for for-profits. We have the different ones for nonprofits listed here, state specific. Then obviously I have my YouTube. So as soon as I finish with a video, I put it in here in case notifications isn't working. And then sometimes it takes a while for YouTube to like transition my video so individuals can know that it is there. So I just immediately put it here so they can get kind of a head start. But then also I sometimes will actually put the link to the grants in here first, and then I might do the video a couple of days later as well, in case there's people that just want the link and don't want to do the walkthrough. International grants, and I'm going to sit this here just for a second, and then we got the documents. But let's talk about the international grants, because I've had a couple of comments about grants that are only for the US. And the reason being is because 98% of the subscribers are located inside of the United States. They're where I will periodically post grants that are global. However, for international grants, which is inside of the Discord, I have it separated. So I have grants that's for Africa, for Canada, Australia, wherever you're located at outside of the US, I probably have a grant that is posted inside of the international piece. And as I said, if you like it, you keep it. If you don't, you cancel. And then also, like, I put different documents that I find in here. So we have same thing, business plan, pitch deck, all of this stuff, Airbnb, drop shipping, etc. And then in the general section, I'll put things like if there's books I find, if there's webinars I find, seminars, things like that, that might be useful. And then I do put stuff in the accelerator category. So accelerators are like if you have like a 10-week course or 8-week course where money isn't attached to it. However, I feel like your network is your net worth, right? So sometimes it's better to just be in those types of cohorts so you can be surrounded by like-minded individuals versus just getting the money and not necessarily knowing what to do with those funds. I also am now offering, which I've been offering for a while, but I do consultation services. So what I'm going to do is in the chat, I'm going to put the link to the Discord, and then I'm also going to put the links to the website. So if you're interested in a one-on-one consultation with myself, you can go to the website. Also, and I'm going to multitask this one, because I say this each video now just to make sure that individuals are not getting scammed, because somebody did create a website, and not a website, email address. The email address is moneytime with Ebony Dion ESQ@gmail.com, which is not an email address that I have. I definitely do not charge $500 for you to apply for a grant. And then on top of that, they're asking for highly confidential information, and you should not be giving people your bank routing number. And then on top of that, I mean, the grammar is just atrocious. So you should not give any information. My email address is also going to be in the description. So if you're looking to connect with me specifically, I recommend going through my website or, contacting me via the email that I'm going to put here. And then also, I don't do Cash App or Zelle. You have to go through a payment processor. So if somebody's asking you for Cash App or Zelle for a consultation with myself, that's not me. If they're asking you for that to apply for a grant, that's not me either. So just do your due diligence, which is something that I always say that is important, because as business owners, you should always make sure you know where your money is going. And then specifically, you need to know where your information is going. So now that we have all of that in there, hello, cool as ice. Let's quickly talk about this grant. Now, when I read this, at first I thought, okay, $10,000, but these people are paying $10,000 a month, okay? $10,000. And if you currently have a job or something like that, you don't have to get, quit your job or anything like that. So you can bring in an extra $10,000 a month for a year on top of whatever else you got going on with your business, or if you don't have a business, because remember, you don't have to have a business for this one. And then on top of that, they're picking 25 people, which granted, they're going to have a substantial amount of applicants, but typically, if it's this amount of money, $120,000 plus all of the mentorships and other resources, it's normally just one person that'll get, the grand prize. And then they'll say, second and third place might get $500 and maybe 1 hour of mentorship. This is each person selected gets this $10,000 a month. Requirements. You have to be 18 years or older. US only, y'all. So this is not a global opportunity. You have to be located inside of the United States. You must self-identify as Black. So however that works, you self-identify. I guess they're not going to ask any questions of folks if they say I'm Black, for this particular grant. On top of that, you have to be an emerging creator. Now, emerging creator means that you've been like dibbling, dabbling, trying to figure out, okay, do I want to do content creation? Do I not want to do content creation? You're slowly trying to learn things. So for example, with myself, I just learned probably, I want to say a couple weeks ago, but just last week, I really figured out how to make reels. Like I was doing it where I would do a picture and then I was just loading the picture. Then I figured out how to add the music. Then I figured out how to cut the videos down. So it's more so just like you're slowly learning. You don't have a huge following. You don't have, somebody backing you. You haven't taken any, major courses. Literally, you are green as far as how all of this content creation goes. But you must desire to become a professional content creator. So if you're doing content creation and it's just, something to do, you don't really care to do it, it doesn't excite you, you're not motivated, passionate, etc., you wouldn't be eligible to apply for this grant, because what they are looking for is individuals that will then turn into professional content creators. And of course, they'll make money off of whatever, your content that you're creating is, and then you'll get money from them. So it's going to be a win-win type of marriage that is happening here. You must abide by all community guidelines. And of course, there's a list of those. And then you must display empathy, kindness, and be creative. So when you think about that, I think about some people that do reaction videos when they do their content creation. So it can be videos where you're making fun of people, right? You see somebody out, you record them, and then you do this video to get, a couple laughs. I don't like the idea of, recording unsuspecting individuals to then post them on the internet to make fun of them anyways. So in this specific grant, that is something that you cannot do. So you have to lead with empathy. You have to be kind to people with whatever content creation that you are creating out there. And I don't know if, let's say you have a page and you have some of these things on there and you delete it, what will happen if they can see that you deleted it? Those types of things, I'm not going to know because I'm not an expert in this specific content creation world. Winners will be notified. Oh my gosh, that's next month. Winners will be notified next month. And the deadline, now don't get upset, y'all, because I just found out about this. The deadline is August 12th, okay? But when I tell you, you could literally do this while we're on this video and submit your application. and you still got 2 whole days from now until the 12th. The one thing I will say, they didn't give a time deadline as far as the application deadline. I would say normally it's 11:59 Eastern Standard Time. What I would do, I would probably do a few hours earlier. But again, if you're watching this video right now as we're live, you can get this completed tonight. So you won't even have to worry about the 12th. But if you're watching this a little bit later, I wouldn't wait until 11:59. I would definitely try to do it a little bit sooner. Now, some of the things that they want you to do once, if you're chosen as a participant, you must have this type of time available to them. First and foremost, monthly trainings. And these trainings will be virtual. I don't know how long the trainings are going to be. That's not in there. It doesn't say, you know, the day, if it's going to be weekday, weeknight, etc. But you must be available every month for these trainings. You also must be available for at least one in-person or virtual live. They haven't decided, you know, COVID, monkeypox, all of that. They need to still figure out if it's going to be in person or not. But if it is, you will have to be available for that. And then with that, you're going to give them feedback. So what they're going to have you do is work with our mentors, work with our platform. And from there, they just want to get advice from you. Like, what are your thoughts? What are things they can do better? What are things that, you know, this doesn't really work for us? Or, oh my gosh, I love this. I want you to keep this. So those types of things. And then also you have to be available for 4 virtual live. Now, this isn't pre-recorded. So I don't know when, but you will have to be available for at least 4 of these live feedback sessions that they're going to have. So remember though, $10,000 a month, I will switch my schedule up to be available because it sounded like what, once a month. So that's 12. And then we got 5 more. So that's 17. Numbers isn't my thing, but 17 touch points throughout a year. And then you're going to get $10,000 a month. I say do it. Now, the organization, nonprofit, the company that you're going to be collaborating with is going to be Snapchat. Okay. 1 second, y'all. My thing was flashing. Okay, so you're going to be working with Snapchat, and I don't have a Snapchat. I wish I had a Snapchat because if I did, I would be part of your competition. Okay. However, I do not. But the one thing is, so for that year, you cannot advertise with any of their competitors. And I'm going to read the competitors because some of these competitors I've heard of and some of them I have not. And the competitors that they list, TikTok, ByteDance, which I've never heard of that, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Now, when they say you cannot work with our competitors, they don't mean that you can't do YouTube videos or Instagram or things like that. What they're saying is you cannot advertise them like you're going to have to advertise Snapchat because you're, you know, one of the recipients of this grant, which makes sense, right? I'm giving you $10,000 a month and you're advertising me, and then you're going to advertise Twitter, Facebook, etc. Also with this grant, you cannot speak negatively about Snapchat, and you cannot speak negatively for the 12 months and then 3 months thereafter. Also, you have to be open. Well, it's a yes or no question, but I'm just going to say you should be open to them marketing and posting you as well once we go through this very quick application. But then finally, you cannot rescind any rights. So the rights that they are discussing is when you have these, I'm going to call them think tanks, and you're talking about the good, bad, and different associated with Snapchat, because you're going to be using, and I've never ever used Snapchat. So you're going to be using Discover, Stories, Spotlight, and Maps, whatever, you know, all those are inside of Snapchat. And from there, they're going to give you all like roll out to things that they're thinking about using. And then you're going to give them feedback. In these feedback sections, they're going to take notes and they're going to decide if they're going to implement those things or if they're going to take those things out. What they're saying is you might decide that for whatever reason, and who knows, it might not be as good as it's sounding, that you no longer want to be a participant in the program. What they're then saying is you can't say to them, well, because I'm no longer a participant, the information that I did provide to you during the program, you can't use it. Like, no, you got $10,000 from us at a minimum. But also on the flip side with them, at the end of each quarter, they can cancel the contract. So at a minimum, if you're selected, you're going to get $30,000. Because at the end of that quarter, if they decide they no longer want to work with you or they no longer want to offer the program to anyone, then they can stop the program at that point, but they have to do it at the end of a quarter. So if the second quarter starts, then you will get $60,000 before they can then cancel, the program or decide that they no longer want to work with you. And the only thing I can think of where they might not want to work with an individual is if you're not showing up to these sessions and you're not participating in surveys, or they roll out something specific to you all, and then you're not, testing these things that are being put to your Snapchat. Also, during the program, you are not restricted to only creating new content. You can use old content and do a different iteration of it based off of the learning that you're going to get, because you're going to get access to industry experts that are going to help you grow your Snapchat to then become a professional content creator. And the grant that they're giving you, I'm going to think that is going to go towards that, but I don't even know what you're going to do with the $10,000. Maybe whatever they're going to train you with, maybe you got to buy props, you got to buy a laptop. I don't know, but $120,000, that is a lot of money on top of the cost of what the mentors would be and the different programs that they are going to give you all access to as well. What I will say, they said this started from their diversity committee. Of course, I'm not on Snapchat, but I do know that there's been multiple conversations just throughout social media about, the discrepancies associated with Black creators and how, they're paid and how they're not pushed as much as their counterparts. So I think this is their way of attempting to rectify that situation. So if you self-identify as Black, if you are making content on Snapchat, I highly recommend that you apply for this grant, because again, $120,000 to do what? 60 seconds. I don't even know how many you can do on there, but 15-second videos. And they also said, whomever is selected for the grant, you are going to do, what is it? A series. So I'm guessing they got a TV show. I don't know what it is on there, but it's a series that you're going to do. And it was saying like 15 seconds or 30-second series that you all are going to do. So again, 15 to 30 seconds, $10,000 a month, and it's something that you're already, doing anyways. You definitely should apply. So let me share the screen, go through the application really quick if there's not any questions. So this is from, let me move this out the way. So 523 is going to be the overarching organization who is then working with Snapchat. Email address 523.snap.com. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the chat. So if you want to go ahead and click on it. Let me go back. All right. So that's in the chat. So you can click on it and you can actually start filling it out. So again, pretty basic questions. Email address, your legal name. They're not even asking you for your business name, right? Remember I said you don't even have to have a business for this, but if you do have a business, because some people do their social media through their business name and account, but if you do not, just your legal name, your Snapchat name, email address, business name, if any, and you see you can say none is not applicable. And then yes or no, do you self-identify as Black, which is one of the requirements. And then the category that best describes your content. So you have comedy, food, lifestyle, education, etc. So you're gonna fit in one of these categories. If you don't, you're gonna select other. And here they want to know about your creator journey. How did you start and what inspired you? So again, this, like I said, all of these grants, even though this is worded differently than others, your answers are going to be kind of similar, right? So if you're on Snapchat for educational purposes, when you're applying for this grant, you're going to say, you know, I'm passionate about educating individuals. Or maybe if you're going the route of, I recognize that there were few, you know, Black creators in this specific industry, if it's art or if it's travel, because I remember seeing a young lady that is an influencer and she travels. And one of the things that she was talking about was the fact that there's few Black creators that get access to a lot of the perks of traveling, whereas their counterparts are getting, you know, free trips and these luxury access to things. So definitely just think about, how did you start? Why did you start? Those types of things. What was your inspiration? If it's dancing, you want to dance, maybe you're doing simple choreographies for individuals. So definitely make it concise. There is not anything here that gives a word length. I read all of the terms, nothing gives you restrictions, but what I can tell you is it'll probably pause you at some point where you cannot enter anymore. And I always recommend typing your answer in a Word document first, doing your spelling grammatical check, and then put it here to make sure that you don't have any typos, grammatical errors, etc. And then if you have to cut it down, it's going to be easier to cut it down in that Word document versus trying to cut it down here. What are your aspirations for your career as a professional content creator? So this is going to be your ultimate goal. If you want to do this full time, what makes you want to do that, right? What's going to make you want to get up every day and create content? So really think about that one, right? So if I'm thinking about mine from the lens of education and YouTube, I would then be saying something along the lines that, you know, I've been on social media a lot. I saw that so many individuals were being taken advantage of when it came to finding funding for businesses, which is one of the main barriers, right? One of the main barriers to smaller businesses, specifically minority-owned businesses, is that access to capital. And until they have access to capital, they kind of can never scale their business. And I wanted to, at a minimum, having the credentials that I have, be that individual that is able to be one out of a million that's not going to then try to take advantage or, you know, take their money. And also educate alongside that, not me writing the grant for the individuals, but teaching them how to write the grants for themselves. Because like today, this is due in 2 days. A grant writer might not have room on their desk to do this, but this is definitely something you can do once you get more intimately connected to your business and you do enough of these applications. You will then be able to just like roll off the tongue, because like I said, a lot of these questions, even though they're worded differently, they're looking for similar answers. And then SNAP's values, kind, smart, creative, which is what we talked about. Which of these words best describes your content and why? So you got to pick one. Is it kind? Is it smart? Is it creative? If this, when you think about content creation, most people think about, you know, fashion or, you know, a bunch of, you know, I don't know, I call it noise, but people like that. Is this creative? It's creative to me because it's a space that not too many people are in. This space, a lot of people will do grant videos, but they're giving you the links and that's about it. They're telling you, okay, this grant, this deadline, this is how much money you can get. There are a few people that are going to walk you through each grant, which is why you're not going to get 10 grants in a video and you can get the rest other places. So for me, this was creative enough because there was a need that was not being met. And I am now able to meet that need by walking through the application and also empowering individuals to be more confident to do these grants on their own without paying someone I don't know, $200. I don't know how much people are charging to write these types of grants. And then why do you want to work with our partners? Again, this is something you can tie back to your business, is that, you would rather learn from an expert that would help you, catapult your business or catapult your Snapchat. You will be able to get industry knowledge that you do not have. You've been following X, Y, and Z for umpteen years. You've always wanted to work with this group. You've heard great things about them. You follow individuals that work with them. Whatever it is that is making it where you want to work with these specific organizations, and tie it back to content creation, obviously. And then who is your dream mentor and why? This is something you're going to have to sit back and think about. Now, if I were applying for this grant, I would think about it from the perspective of, what content creator do I follow and why? And what is it about that content creator that makes me want to see what they're doing? And I would want them to mentor me, to show me how they went from zeros to a million. But it could be someone that's not a content creator that you would love to be your mentor. But I would think that if you're passionate about doing this professionally, you would want to then be mentored by someone else that is doing it professionally. And then, how do you feel about the state of Black creator community on Snapchat? Please be honest. We genuinely want to know. Now, this is a tricky one, right? Do you be completely honest if you feel as though, they're missing the mark? Or do you fluff it like, oh, it's okay, but we can see movement? Me, I'm a straight shooter. So I'm definitely going to be very honest. If I was on Snapchat and I felt like they were missing the mark, and I felt like, Black creators were not being spotlighted as much as others, I would say that, because what they are looking for, they don't need any more yes people at the table, because clearly there's something happening that has triggered this grant that has also triggered them to ask this question. So they're looking for people that they can sit at that table and know that it's going to challenge them and also help them make Snapchat better for Black creators. And if you are not being honest with them and you're thinking, well, I don't want to not get the grant, so let me say some nice things. But of course, you can definitely give constructive criticism that is professional and does not land on an individual as offensive. So there's a difference between being constructive and being offensive. So you have to make sure that your tone is specifically and intentionally paid attention to, and understanding that tone can definitely be misread inside of writing. So it might take a couple of iterations, like, oh, that's too strong, or have somebody else read it and see how it lands on them. If it is something that you're going to communicate that is not a positive, just making sure that it is professional in how you're going to communicate it. Because again, if they're going to put you in front of industry professionals and industry experts, yes, they want you to be honest, but they also don't want you to be offensive. So finding that balance is going to be important. And then, are you open to being featured in marketing or press opportunities? Of course you are, because why would you participate in this program where there's probably going to be some type of announcement that shows, all 25 individuals that were selected, if you do not want marketing or press opportunities? Because if you are a full-time content creator, you're probably going to be somewhere national, because you're going to get these different companies reaching out to you that want to collaborate with you. So I wouldn't say no, but if for whatever reason you do not want to be in any press opportunities, you might want to think about if this is going to be the grant for you, and if this content creation is going to be the path for you. This, I'm just going to assume that they're sending you all shirts. So you give them your hoodie size and they're going to send you a hoodie. And then you got to read, I read the terms, which is pretty brief, and then also their privacy policy. And then from there, you click submit, and then you have applied for this. That's why I said, like, you can literally do this, and probably could have started it at least during this conversation. I don't see any questions. So that means that I did an amazing job. So if you all do not have any questions, I'm going to log off. So I'm going to give it a couple of seconds, because sometimes the things do not load properly. So I just want to make sure. There is none. So thank you all for watching. I got a couple more grants that I'm gonna try to get out at the end of this week. That is the goal. But you all enjoy the rest of your evening. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you like the video, if you got anything of value, but y'all do not miss $120,000, okay? I will see you next time. Bye.